Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So, start of a new month, working on the pale part of the bird's wing today. And yeah, we should get into his tail feathers this month, but not just yet. So we're working on the lighter part of his wings and then some more of the darker part, I think, lower down before we get to the tail. Yeah, and we'll actually get the crest of the second bird at some point today, or not today, but this month. Yeah, it'd be nice if I could get that far in one day, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, we're having a nice day today. Although they're calling for rain for a while afterwards, so yeah. I'll take my walk later and enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah, had a busy end of the month. My niece got married. It was a lovely wedding. Yeah, they wanted it very low-key, so they didn't have like speeches and big ceremony stuff like that during the reception. They just, yeah, people got to mingle and visit, which was nice. Yeah, her mom was saying it was so sweet. She said the two of them had a crush on each other since they were like 12, which I'm like, that is just the cutest thing ever. Now they're married, so yeah. I said I was a little envious because when I got married over 20 years ago during our ceremony, we had to either kneel or stand the entire time if you're the bride and groom. And I mean, they do have proper kneelers with place to rest your arms and stuff, but still, I mean, it gets hard on the knees after a while. And yeah, they got to have chairs and sit down. So I said, yeah, I was pretty envious because yeah, we didn't get that. Yeah, so it was really nice. My father-in-law and two of my husband's siblings, they all traveled up together in one vehicle because they're in the next province. So they traveled up to come to the wedding, and then they stayed the next day so we could have a visit. They were going to originally leave like the next morning, but we were like, well, stay for at least a day, right? So we don't get to see you all that often. So yeah, and plus it's a long drive. They do it in one day like we do, you know, over 15 hours. And we said, you know, Dad's not as young as he used to be, right? So yeah, we would worry about them on the road that tired. So yeah, my sister-in-law, that she drives, so she could drive for part of it, but my brother-in-law, he does not. Well, he lives in an area where there's a lot of public transit, and basically you almost pay more for a space to park your car than you do for a place to live in. So yeah, he just doesn't have a car and he never bothered to learn. So yeah, he doesn't, which yeah. I didn't get my license till I was 24, so yeah. And I mean, he lives in Vancouver. If we lived there, there's no way I would drive in that. Yeah, that traffic is, whoo boy. All right, so as usual, I'm going to grow out sort of from both edges here since the colors are all flowing that way, so I'm going to follow them. Yeah. Well, speaking of driving, my kiddo is now driving his vehicle on his own because it's a manual, so he needed a little extra practice to get it. And but now he's driving the stick all by himself, so yeah. He, like we said, he could have done it earlier. He just didn't believe in himself enough. Yeah. Like the last few times he went out practicing with his dad, you know, my husband was saying like, you've got this, dude. You don't need me here. You know, I'm here for moral support, but you really don't need me here. You know what you're doing. So I guess it's a little easier too, because we don't really have any hills, because that requires a little extra. Yeah. So my husband said he is going to take him on a bit more practice. There's a couple places that have small hills So he'll take him there to practice a bit. So he's used to that. Because yeah, you don't want to be learning that on the fly, right? Yeah. And I said, I do plan to learn at some point, just enough so that I could move the car if I had to. So, yeah. Yeah, he's one of the few kids at his school who can drive manual. So he was quite excited to take it to school and show it off. So, yeah. Oh, it was really nice also because they drove rather than flying. My father-in-law, he gifted me Mom's yarn stash. If you've been following me for a while, you know she passed away last November. Yeah, it was fairly unexpected. Like, they went from finding a tumor to her being gone within a matter of weeks. So, yeah, it wasn't a complete shock, but it was not expected. She was still quite young. So, anyway, he gave me this entire big cedar chest full of yarn. So I plan to make him a blanket out of some of it. Yeah, I can say that because he doesn't watch this channel, so it'll still be a surprise. Yeah, he's not got much of an online presence, so yeah. Yeah, I went through inventorying the yarn. There was a little bit that I donated because she had some skeins of crochet cotton, which I can't really use as a knitter. I don't crochet. I'm not a big doily kind of person, so yeah, I'm just gonna donate it and let someone else have it. Yeah, no one else really crochets much. I have one of my husband's sisters does, but she doesn't really do doily. She does like blankets and things, so yeah. But yeah, he offered it to a few people. I was the only one who took it, so yeah. So yeah, I plan to make him like a log cabin style knitted. It'll look like a quilt, but it's knitted. Yeah. So there'll be a mix of some of Mom's yarn and some of my yarn. Yeah. So I think he will like that. Yeah. Later this month, if his work permits, because they're quite busy right now, my husband is planning to head out there and help his dad because he's been decluttering and clearing out the house because he's preparing to sell and downsize because, yeah, you know, they had 6 kids and now they're grown and it's just him. So, yeah, it's a big, big house for one person. And my mother-in-law was a bit of a pack rat, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff to get through. Yeah, she had a hard time throwing anything away, so yeah. So yeah, we're almost at 41% now. Okay. I've been managing 2 to 3% per month on this project. So yeah, pardon me, my calculating spreadsheet tells me if I worked on this exclusively, I could have it done in just over a year. But as I'm not, it's going to take a couple of years. 20 months by my calculations, but, you know, it depends because, yeah, sometimes things come up, so you just never know. Yeah, so we're approaching the end of the school year. Here in Canada, we go from September till the end of June. Yeah, so kiddo has his finals coming up in a couple of weeks. He has only 3 this go around this semester because one of his classes, they're just doing a practical final project, so no exam. And yeah, he had a spare block this semester, so yeah, it's funny because he doesn't have to stay at the school. It's his last class of the day, so he could come home early, but he often stays there to hang out with one of his friends who also has a spare at the same time. So yeah, because yeah, we told him, like, you have your own car now, and so you can, and they're not required to stay on campus if they don't have class. Because I know, I don't know about his school, but when I was when I was in high school, the senior grades were allowed to leave when they didn't have class, like grade 11, 12, and the younger grades couldn't, but, pardon me, but he is grade 11 now, so, yeah. And, like, yeah, we asked them, he doesn't have to stay if he doesn't have class, right? They're like, nope, he can leave if he wants. So, yeah, I didn't have that option when I was in grade 12 because we lived far away from the school. Like, busing took an extra hour each way. And, yeah, I didn't drive, didn't have a car. And, pardon me, also, like, his day, they always have the same order of classes. In ours, it rotated. So, yeah. Sometimes my spare would be first thing in the morning. Sometimes it was in the middle of the day, that kind of thing. So, yeah. I had one of my friends, she had done a lot of advanced classes in previous years, so she had lots of credits for graduation. Pardon me. So her senior year, she only had to take 4 classes, and we were 8 classes, and we did them, like, all 8 classes went all year, not 4 classes for half the year kind of thing. And so she was hoping that she would get all 4 classes on one day and then have a day off, but no, she had 3 classes on one and 1 class on the other. It's like, oh, that sucked. Because, yeah, it sure would have been nice if she only had to come in every other day, right? But, yeah. Yeah, they kind of asked her, like, don't you want to take more courses? That way, if you do, you know, you can take extra courses so that you're ahead if you're planning to go to college. But she's like, I just want to focus on these classes and do really well in them, rather than doing, you know, more mediocre in a bunch of classes. So they let her do that because, I mean, ultimately, I don't think they could really force her to. If she had enough credits to graduate, then, yeah. Oh, it was funny because somebody said after they went to college and got their master's, their school had gone through their paperwork and discovered, oh, it turns out you actually didn't have enough credits to graduate high school. And she's just like, well, I mean, what are they going to do now about it, right? Like, she's already gone to college and earned a master's degree. They're going to take it away? Like, yeah, it's kind of funny. It's just so weird talking about my kid graduating next year. Like, time really does fly. Okay. Try not to sort of go across too long of an area. I have a hard time fitting it in the frame of the screen where I can zoom in well enough that you guys can see the stitch detail up close. So yeah, that's why I often sort of make a break at a certain point, even though I could technically keep going, but it's kind of hard to film that. At least not if I want you to be able to see the stitch as well. Oh, let's not do knots, hey? There we go. So I'm going to go back up into this corner here. Start working my way down again. Detangle these threads here. Yeah, I didn't get quite as much done on Firefly this last month as I was hoping to, because we had the wedding and people visiting, and I was ill for a bit too, so that was no fun. I am doing better now though. So yeah, the wedding, they came in, they introduced them as a new couple, right? They had their dance, and bride danced with her dad, the groom danced with his mom, and then that was kind of it. We visited. They didn't do a wedding cake. They had a bunch of donuts and cookies, and they let us bring cookies home, so that was nice. Yeah, she said, like, neither the bride or groom, her mom was saying, like, they're not very comfortable being the center of attention, so they just, yeah, they wanted something low-key, so. Yeah, and then they went to Victoria for their honeymoon, which is BC's capital. Yeah, which is nice. When I was a kid and we lived on the island, we lived in Nanaimo. About once a month we would drive up to Victoria. We'd have dim sum for brunch, and then we'd usually go to the museum. They have a really good one there. We had like a family pass for the year, so yeah, we got to see some really cool stuff. It was ancient Egypt, when my kiddo was just a baby, and we went back for family reunion trip, and they had Titanic exhibits. So yeah, he was like 5 months old and we went to that. So I was just like, I am not missing out. We got his little umbrella stroller and he was good. So he fell asleep during it. So I said I was kind of upset though, because we moved away to the mainland when I was in high school, and like something like 6 weeks after we moved away, they brought Da Vinci exhibit to that museum, and I missed it. It was like, oh man, because that's like a once in a lifetime thing to see, right? Yeah, like they'll have the same exhibits, and then there's a specialty one that sort of changes every few months. They had a gold rush one once year we went, and they actually had a scale that you could stand on and it would tell you what your weight in gold is worth. So that was kind of fun. Yeah. So I was worth like, 2 million. My husband was worth more because he's weighs more. So. Yeah, it's nice. And then there's, of course, beaches to walk on, and there's Chinatown downtown, which is really nice for tourism and that. Yeah, they have in Victoria's Chinatown, they have Fantan Alley, which is apparently the narrowest alley in the country. Yeah, it's like basically the width of a bike path. Yeah. Even a smart car wouldn't fit down there. It's so narrow. Yeah. The only thing my mom didn't like was whenever we ate at restaurants there, the servers were always trying to talk to her Chinese, because she's Chinese, but she doesn't speak it. Yeah. They only spoke English at home when she was growing up. So yeah, everyone assumes that she could speak it, but she can't. And it was funny because I worked in a Chinese restaurant for a couple of years after high school, and we had one cook, he could speak Mandarin and Cantonese, and he came and he said something to me in one dialect, and I sort of, sorry, and he switches to the other dialect, and sorry, and he was so horrified. You're a Chinese girl, you work in a Chinese restaurant, how can you not speak any Chinese? Yeah, my husband's family, they're from Hungary, and they came to Canada when my husband was 5, and they went on to have, so they had 2 kids, my husband and his next youngest brother, and then after they came to Canada, they had 4 more kids, but they spoke both at home, so all the kids are bilingual, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, or when I worked at that Chinese restaurant, we had a couple of cooks who could speak 2 different dialects, and then we had a manager and a supervisor, and they couldn't speak to each other in Chinese because one spoke Cantonese and one spoke Mandarin. So yeah, they could both speak to the couple of cooks we had who could speak both, but they couldn't speak to each other in Chinese. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. I always told people I still ate at that restaurant on my days off, so the kitchen is clean. Because yeah, if your employees won't touch the food when they're not working, then yeah, it's not a good place to eat. No, we did really well. We would have surprise inspections by the health inspector all the time, and we always did really well, so. So yeah, there's a little bit of closing in here, which I get from following the colors, but not a lot. I decided trying to avoid closing it at all costs was starting to make this stressful, which I did not want. So I still try to avoid closing in on all four sides when I can. Okay, but sometimes 3 ends up happening, like here. I'm gonna run out of this thread soon. I think I will just do a few more stitches with it. Actually, I'll do this one right in the corner as well. Might as well. Yeah, I find following these color flows rather than trying to force my work to stay in the diagonal like I used to do means I can stitch a little bit faster. Which, well, I know it's not a race. I do like having things completed a little bit quicker. That means I can get more projects done. Yeah, I know a lot of people have, you know, hundreds of charts, but I've tried to keep mine down to charts I think I can actually have a chance of completing in my lifetime. Yeah, Heaven and Earth Designs is doing right now a custom chart. They paired up with one of their, one of the artists that regularly designs for them. And they're actually doing a custom birth chart. And I only think the first 10 people get to get it. It's not cheap. It's like 150 US. But yeah, it'll do like your star sign, your moon sign, or whatever that is. So yeah, it's a totally custom chart for you. That's why it's a special limited edition thing. So yeah, I don't know if they'll have any spots left by now, by the time this video airs, but yeah, might be something you're interested in checking out. It's only for a limited time, and they only have a limited number of spots. So, but I mean, like I said, it is pricey, so they may not be all gone yet. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they'll do it again if there's enough interest. But yeah, so basically the artist is like, has to design each one. So that's why it's pricey, because it's custom work and it's not really going to be transferable to other people, right? So unless they were born at like the exact same time, because they said you even need to look on your birth certificates to see the time as well as the, you know, day, month, year, which most people don't know the time they were born. I do know mine was in the wee hours of the morning, my mom said. Okay, so yeah, kind of cutting it off around here. Let me just see. I'm going to probably come back up here for a little bit. Work in this corner again. So I have 2 threads, this brighter green. Neither of them are terribly long. I think I know what I decided to do with them when I parked them from last month. Yeah, hard to believe this year is almost half gone already. Time is definitely flying. So yeah, my kiddo's applied to a few places in town to see if he can get a summer job this year. So we'll see. Or he might get to work as his dad's assistant if they have to do a big job like they did last year. Yeah. They went up to Northwest Territories because, yeah, they had a station in an old building that there was a small fire, and during the course of them fighting that fire, afterwards they discovered that there was toxic mold in the walls, and so it had to be evacuated basically immediately. So yeah, they had to come in months later to retrieve the equipment, and they had to wear proper protective equipment. So they had to wear gas masks, you know, hard hats, steel toes, all that stuff, so they didn't breathe in, because it had asbestos and toxic mold. So yeah, it was not good. And yes, and the elevator did not work anymore, and their stuff was on the 17th floor. So yeah, which was why my husband's like, well, I can't be doing this alone, because yeah, some of that equipment is quite heavy and awkward, you know. Even with the dolly, you still need 2 people to be able to maneuver it down that many flights of stairs. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, it worked out well. He needed an assistant, and kiddo wanted to earn some money, so yeah, win-win. Yeah, he wants to upgrade his computer because it's starting to die. Well, I think he bought it 3 years ago, so yeah. And he does a fair amount of gaming on it, so they wear out quite quickly. So my computer's 5 years old, I think, but I don't, yeah. The games I play on it are little downloadable ones that don't take up a lot of like RAM and stuff, but he likes to play online like Minecraft and that takes more processing power. So yeah, better video cards and stuff than I have in mine. I can get away with an older computer. I'm gonna try and get all of this yellow here in this corner with this strand. It's gonna be close. Oh yeah, just managed. I love when it works out that way. Yeah, nothing like getting to the end and you're half a stitch short. It just will not. You just cannot get any more out of it. Okay. Color I don't have out yet, but I might actually take it out. Where are ya? Huh. Did I put it back in the wrong tub? No, it's not in that one. Maybe I put it back in the wrong order. Sometimes that happens. So going from 519 to 550 here, so something's not right. Oh, yep. 524 ended up way out of place. Yeah. Ended up in the 600s. Guess I wasn't paying attention when I put it away last time. There we are. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, it was funny while I was sorting through the yarn. I found this Mary Maxim kit for a crochet blanket that I'm pretty sure I bought for my sister-in-law years ago, and she ended up not making it. And I'm pretty sure she gave it to my mother-in-law, and now I ended up with it back. Yeah. It's a cute little one called Bears on My Blanket. It's little teddy bears crawling over a baby's blanket, but I don't crochet. And I kind of like, nobody I know is having babies, so wouldn't be really worth making it at this point. So yeah, just gonna donate that. Honestly, if our shipping here in Canada wasn't so expensive, I would post on my Facebook and tell someone, like, if you're willing to pay the shipping, I'll ship it to you. But Canadian postage is ridiculous, and to post it would probably be like 30 bucks. So yeah, that's unfortunately, yeah. Our shipping costs are very high. And I said it's actually cheaper for me to ship something to the US on the opposite coast than it is for me to ship something to the neighboring province. Yeah. Because if I'm shipping it to the US, it just gets sent over to the USPS and they take over from there. And yeah, it's wild that I can ship I was able to ship something when I lived in BC from BC to Florida, which is all the way across the continent on the other side, than it was to ship it from BC to Alberta, which is right next to each other. It's, yeah, it's wild. Yeah, and especially when we ship things in from international, a lot of times the shipping costs twice as much as the whatever it is we're buying, yeah. Plus, of course, a lot of times there's import fees. Some places, they manage to charge it up front, so you're not surprised by anything, but yeah, sometimes you can't. Because I know eBay often has this guarantee where you pay all your duties up front, but yeah, not every place has that. So I've unfortunately had some times where, yeah, they show up with the parcel and it's like, well, you also have to pay 30 bucks right now to get it. I mean, what am I going to do? Send it back? I still want the item, and they know that. So yeah. It's random too. Like, you could order something from the same place, the same kind of item several times and never pay an import fee, and then, you know, the 5th time you do. Yeah. And it's just, it's kind of up to the whims of the customs agent you get. So yeah, sometimes you luck out, sometimes you're not so lucky. Okay, I'm just gonna pull these threads out of my working area for the moment. Okay, that's not very long. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thread anyway. Oh, that's super short. Okay. All right, then we will start a new one right there. It's a bit windy. My vent covers flapping around back there. Oh, now no birds can get in it. Yeah, my husband put a mesh around it, so yeah, because there was one very determined bird that wanted to live in there, and I would tape it shut for a few days, and then when I needed to use it, I'd untape it, and like the next day he was back in there again. You could hear him chirping. When they're actually in the vent, yeah, it's quite loud because there's just a little mesh between that and the house. So yeah, finally, well, I could see why he'd want to. It's a small little space that the vent kind of covers it, so I'm sure he'd feel safe in there from predators. But yeah, sorry. I don't think he'd like it much, though, if I was using it and turned the range hood fan on. That would, yeah, that would be not so good. So, yeah, it's funny, the smallest little places they want to build a nest. We had, right above our bedroom window, there was one shingle that had sort of just like a little tiny peak in it, got pulled or something. So it was just this tiny little space, and yeah, there was some birds who wanted to nest in there, so we had to, my husband had to get on a ladder and yeah, nail that bit down. They were teeny little birds too, so yeah, that's why they wanted to live there, and it's like, nope, sorry. We got 3 trees in our yard. You're welcome to nest in those. Not right outside our bedroom window where you're gonna chirp at 4 in the morning and wake us up. That is not on. Okay, yeah, this is not gonna last for 4 more stitches. It'd be nice, but yeah, that is just not happening. Have to get another little thread. Only 215 of this color yet left, but I'm betting it's scattered. I won't get a 0 for a while. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, there's a little bit there, but oh yeah, it's all over the place, so it's gonna be a while until we get to 0s. I don't think I have any 0s yet. Yeah, it's nice. Pattern Keeper has a feature now that you can filter your 0s out, which makes it out of your list, which makes it easier, especially when you're down to your last few colors. You don't have to, yeah, swipe through a list that's got full of 0s. Yeah, it has this little feature where the day that you mark it 0, it has a little thing that says new next to it. And then the next day, they, if you have it toggled that way, they disappear from your list. You can toggle it on and off so that you could see all your 0s or not. Okay. Yeah, I really love how the developer of Pattern Keeper keeps updating with new features, even though it's a one-time purchase. It's not a subscription, so yeah, you definitely get your money's worth, because I would have been willing to pay a yearly subscription for it. It is such a wonderful program. I would never stitch without it. Yeah, they said, though, it probably will never come to Apple products because, yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of hoops to jump through to make something work on Apple. So, and it's, you know, one person developing this in their house. It's not a team of software developers. So, yeah, I don't blame them for. Yeah, I ended up buying an Android device just for Pattern Keeper, and it was totally worth it. You don't even need a top of the line one or anything like that. It's, yeah, pretty basic. So let's see, that piece is just long enough. Yeah. Might as well save it for when I have single stitches. I am cheap, and any usable piece of thread gets saved. Oops. Yeah, they also have a feature now. You can, I have it in number order right now, but you can also order it by how many stitches you have left. So say if you're eager to hit a 0 and you stitch by cross country, yeah, you could pull up whatever has the fewest stitches and complete that first if that's what you want to do. So again, another feature that was added in an update, which is really nice. And then if you have it that way and you don't have it hide your zeros, but then you can have it so all your zeros are at the top or the bottom. So if it's grouped by how many stitches you have left, so then that way, yeah, you don't have to waste your time searching through them. Okay. So yeah, what I'm probably going to do this over this coming month is fill in sort of up to the tail feathers, fill in the pale part of the wings, fill in the darker part, yeah, and sort of leave the tackling the tail feathers after this bit of his wings that is in this pass is done. Yeah. Which is pretty much all of the pale part of his wing will be done in this pass. Of course, there's more feathers, brown feathers, further down later in the next pass, but I won't concern myself with that. But yeah, this is it for the pale part of his wings, it looks like. Oh goodness, what is going on there? Is that an end? Yeah. Yeah, grabbed the should get my thicker. I have 2 of these snag tools, and I use this fatter one on the 14 count, and I use the skinnier one on the 18 count generally. So there we go. Oh, I think the other side is still. I learned the hard way to do this before I make the stitch, because sometimes then you'll end up with the other end of it sort of dragged through another hole, and then trying to get it to go back to the back from both sides is, yeah, it's that same one again, I bet. Being a pest. There we go. just barely stayed on the needle. Yeah, usually I don't leave the really short ones threaded because the needle often just falls right off. Thread's really twisted. There we go. Untwist it there. Okay. Oops, my goodness. Things getting a little laggy. I probably need to reboot my tablet. It is misbehaving. Okay, once again, go up a bit. I think I will be ending this session soon. Yeah, close to 200 stitches now, which is usually a good amount. Usually where I like to take a break. Recall, this is a super short piece, yeah. Should be just barely enough to manage these 2 stitches. Yeah, perfect. either way, there's going to be some closing in. There's just not much I can do. Way I've chosen to stitch. It is occasionally unavoidable. Okay. Separate those off from each other. Might as well stitch past 200, hey? Since we are so close. And then that's where I'll quit. Okay. Yeah, stitch this row here, and that will take us past 200, and that's where I'm going to call it quits for this session. There, and then yeah, 202. Look at that, we're so close to 41%, but I think I'd still have close to another 40 stitches, so yeah, I need to get up and stretch, so that's where I'm going to cut it off for today. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone.